Welcome back to the last game of the weekend where FlyQuest are facing off against Immortals in a must-win match as they ride the line of qualifying for our mid-season showdown.
Yes, sir, and this is an important one. Currently, these teams are 7th and 8th. You have to get top 6 to be able to get into the playoffs for mid-season showdown. And guess what? FlyQuest, they have to win this game right now, or mathematically, they are out. Immortals, they do have a little leeway if some weird stuff happens, but let's just go with they want to win too. Specifically, I want to shout out Jose Deodo too for FlyQuest though, because yesterday his Lilia was magnificent. Actually just smashing the entire game. He had multi-person sleeps, he had snipes, he had smite fight victories. This one was really cool where he flashes over to make sure Turtle goes down even with his rocket jump, even with his flash, even with the black shield, catching him and Broxa. It was the complete opposite CLG than we saw today, where FlyQuest actually trounced them. Here's the smite I'm talking about, where he's able to Zhonya's inside of the Baron pit. They get it over Broxa, they finish up, they clean up the team fight as well. Just really good stuff from him specifically. A lot of the mechanics have been on point from Jose for the entire split, but this one was truly something else. Even stuff like this, where it was a team fight where they had heavy casualties. He goes right back in, lands a 4-person sleep into the Zhonyas, re-engages, saves the entire team fight for FlyQuest. Then is able to guide away as well. So, big stuff from individuals from FlyQuest, but they've also been coming together as a team, and Immortals are going to have to put a stop to that very quickly in order to eliminate one of their competitors for those, bottom spots in the playoffs here leading up to MSI qualifications. Now, for Immortals specifically for yesterday, I actually really like this Vayne pick. Even though they lost lane, it's into Mundo, it's into Alistar. He had good condemn cancels of the combos. He was able to melt the front line. Since again, Mundo did nothing but negative damage and got his team into trouble. So really good stuff there from the Immortals bottom lane. I want to see more out of the Aussie duo, and I'm sure that you do, Pastry, as a homer yourself.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where, we've had kind of these OCE carries make their way over, and again, every best player from OSA is somehow an AD carry for the most part, which just seems to be a tradition of the region. FBI's been looking great, even the 100 Thieves haven't been all that hot recently. Obviously, Lost has been kind of powering up alongside TSM, and we expected maybe the same kind of thing for Raze joining Immortals, but was obviously a much harder task, kind of going from Worlds, in OCE, where they played pretty well, to now having to play on the LCS stage alongside a bunch of new teammates on IMT. And I think he and Destiny have actually warmed up quite a bit here, and this might be a place where Immortals look to actually play through more of their games. I think when you enable a player like Raze, and when Destiny is hitting the engages and the playmaking that we know he wants to go for every single game, IMT, given that they're the team that is very hot and cold, I think Raze and Destiny might be bringing a bit more consistency to the side.
All right, well, let's take a look. Rel right off the bat here, bend away from FlyQuest. Really, really like that as a super high priority champion for bottom side. So every time we see Rel plus Seraphine, even from blue side here for FlyQuest, as one of the teams that used both those champions the most, like to see possibilities here coming back from Immortals, taking off the solo lane Lucian. They don't want to get split pushed to death. As we just saw previously, don't want to have to deal with Palafox in the mid lane, who has used a lot of these AD threats very effectively. That plus the Yone that we just got a look at yesterday.
Kind of a wild blue side Lilia ban though for FlyQuest. This is a champion I think you can probably first pick, and Jose Deodo looked excellent on it. So Hecarim's going to get banned as a response here for IMT, and all of a sudden this game is very different setup-wise. Udyr's still banned though, so that's not going to be happening here, but I wonder what first pick they're setting up here. I mean, I guess it's Trist, as FlyQuest look to take that one here, but something... This kind of ban signals to me that you have a pretty specific plan in mind if you're going to be banning away one of Jose Deodo's best recent performing champions away on the side where you could have taken it first. Is Olaf actually going to be the pick here? Yeah,
I was gonna say Olaf, because if you have Udyr, Hecarim, and Lilia all banned, Olaf is the next of the 4 kings of the jungle right now. The 4 that still have this incredible clear speed. and are able to keep a heads above basically all of their opponents. And I'd say that's a priority for FlyQuest. We just spent 2 minutes talking up Jose Diodo for FlyQuest and how he's the point man for this team. It does put Xerxes onto Nidalee, and Xerxes has been one of the players for Immortals we've been looking for improvements from. Sometimes his early jungle pathing is not routing towards the lane that is their win condition, and has caused them some problems. Also, some of the mechanical mistakes in duels have got them into trouble. And on Nidalee, you can't really afford to make those types of mistakes. This is a champion that you want to play from ahead. You want to get your power clearing going, but you also, these little ganks where you do like a pressure gank, passing by a lane, throwing out spears and heals to just change health levels as you pass by and continue on your quick clear speed are very important.
Yeah, about as good as Dr. Mundo gank sometimes. Just kind of throw a Q and leaves the lane. Maybe hope you get a little bit of pressure happening here. I do like the call out, though, that the way FlyQuest have navigated this early draft, it does put a lot of pressure on Xerxes as far as what champions are available for him to play. Has really stuck to Hecarim Lilia for a lot of this. So I like that FlyQuest maybe recognize that particular swap here. Trist was the second pick, though, for Immortals, as FlyQuest have already locked in Gragas and Syndra as their next two.
I like this combo. Really flexible, lots of CC. People keep hovering this Talon. And by the way, this is not just a meme because Perks tweeted out, he was going to play Talon and then didn't play it. Teams have actually been using this in scrims, and it's really, really strong in solo queue right now. I still don't think we're going to see it, make its way to the stage, but it's one of those hovers that, man, I wish that would go through Pastry because it changes the whole way the game is played. When you have a mid like that, if you get a lead and you can get them priority, you just go unlock them by pushing one wave for the Talon. Then he gets to make incredible roams. He can also counter jungle really effectively. You get a Talon flipping over the back of your red buff. It's a good night to any jungler, basically, especially if he's got Ignite. Not going to be the case here, though. We'll save that for when he actually gets picked up. It's Snooze Fest is here.
I mean, yeah, definitely a champion that is not all that exciting to watch, at least maybe in lane, but obviously very impactful. So Insanity going to take the Azir, with Powerfox actually deciding he'd rather have Syndra here. These are actually two mid laners with a ton of history already, despite being early in their LCS careers. They had a long tenure in Academy playing up against each other, so very familiar with how they like to play these matchups, so it should be a fun one to watch, even though it is a less exciting mid lane matchup than, let's say, something that Talent may have added. Thresher and Renekton, though, first phase 2 bans here for either side, as Shen is going to be taken off the board and away from Licorice, given his performance yesterday. I don't blame Immortals.
This Immortals lineup is looking real flimsy, too. They really need some hard CC and some health bars on this team with their last 2 picks. So FlyQuest, I think banning away, stuff from Avenge for tanks for topside and tank supports, both of those would be good options. They actually go for the Camille, the split push, more risky version there for Immortals, which honestly I think that Revenge will probably just lock in a frontline tank for Immortals here. They are saving the counter pick for him, so it could be them taking the route of tons of damage, no beefiness, no frontline. But if you have a Jinx and Azir, I actually think that's just crazy to set up a whole team comp and then not have a tank on the front line. Okay, there we go. We get Nautilus. Tank from bottom side, engage, point and click CC. That's what you want. Tristana and Azir, very good backline damage already, and Nidalee can transition into very good supportive role for the mid stage of the game, especially if you don't go for the full damage build. She can be very good supplemental to Tristana with the extra heal and attack speed.
All right, Senna actually going to join TK here because Gragas is already picked up. So with Olaf locked in, Licorice was already planning on playing a tank here. So it makes sense they have to finish off their bottom lane. Senna Tahm still very powerful. I think we've seen mixed results in more recent games, but we all know the power of Senna when she gets all the souls. And of course, having your Tahm act as a full farmer in the bottom lane, if you want to go that route, is always nice. And it does seem like FlyQuest's read on Revenge's champion pool is correct, because that's not a tank, Kobe, that's an Aatrox.
Yeah, it is, let's say, lifesteal tank.
Nope.
You can give him. No, okay, fine. But he is a frontliner, though, and
yes.
we've seen multiple. I guess my mind goes straight to guys like Finn, who have had these really big, and Fake God, actually Fake God more recently, who have had these really good engages, flanks with the Aatrox. acting like a main tank, because heading in there with just the mini knockups from your Qs, especially if you use your Q1 early and you can get your AoE, second Q, third Qs out in these team fights, and flanking with one of those chains onto a high priority target, that can be the front line. That along with Nautilus is the engage that you're looking for. I just think it's so difficult if the Tahm Kench is played well to actually make those types of move onto Senna Tahm Kench lanes. So I think it's a really good last 2 picks here from FlyQuest, getting that safety for Johnson and Diamond. People have definitely been looking at the bottom lane and specifically Diamond for cleaning up some of these plays though. So there will be hyper focus there for FlyQuest heading into this one. Must win game for FlyQuest, or else they are mathematically out of the race for playoffs for MSI contention.
Yep, they know that it's just one game at a time, and this one's pretty important, as Diamond gives the thumbs up, and the rest of FlyQuest are galloping towards the bottom brush here in bot lane. See if Destiny is indeed going to get caught. Ooh, no one's spotting him just yet here, but will they get spotted again? Diamond already roaming up to this brush, but Raze will spot him early. So good scouting work there by Trist, and Raze probably hasn't put a point in anything yet, so just going to emote as they're going to run into the enemy jungle here, because Raze and Destiny will be forced out. Like they're sweeping through as well, so checking for any wards, but nothing really happening here, other than just a bit of early info for FlyQuest. They're already going to start channeling some recalls and getting out of there.
Does catch at least one ward here for the sweep. Let's see, that's only golden experience here for Diamond and Johnson bottom lanes. It doesn't really matter as much for the bottom lanes. Solo lanes you can get level 2 on first wave and sometimes changes your trait.
Ooh!
Diamond!
Onto Diamond. Very nice here for IMT. There's a jump in from Raze. Diamond looking to go down here, but he does get healed up by Johnson. Is going to be okay, but has to burn 2 summoners to stay alive. And Kobe, bad news. The minion wave is already here.
Oh my god, that spear too. He barely is able to just shift his weight to the side and dodge through it. Spear goes through too. They don't get a kill for Immortals, but yeah, Pastry, it is tough news for the bottom lane. Tahm Kench is not going to be a chunky boy this time around. No health. No regeneration left to him, no flash left to him, no heal for the bottom side. Xerxes better be looking towards bottom side to attack that lane. Senna Tahm Kench, usually one of the safest, but against a Tristana Nautilus, that is engage overload for bottom side. And I think it's definitely a good thing that we were looking at Raze and Destiny at the beginning intro here for this game, as they've definitely got a lot of cards to work with for pressuring bottom side, trying to punish that level 1 from FlyQuest.
Palfox playing really aggressively here in this lane, just trying to trade up against the Azir, but even with Phase Rush proccing, can't really dodge the incoming damage, so mid lane is looking pretty even so far. Someone's going to land though, Palfox in. Oh, level 3 for Insanity though, so immediately runs back in, and Palfox going to lose that trade.
Little North American mid laner ego contest in mid here, Palfox versus Insanity. Honestly, there should definitely be some early jungle action with how aggressively and volatile a lot of these lanes are playing. Mid and bottom, both looking pretty good. And since Olaf full clear, Jose started topside. He will end down here.
Good grab again. IMT going aggressive.
Dodged.
Diamond looking low. No flash, no hope. First blood over to Raze. They're going to be second blood as well. Finally, the Hobbits will be happy. It is second blood for Raze.
Raze and Destiny, the Oceanic bottom lane right here, comes over and smashes Diamond. Johnson goes down in the aftermath, just crying as the Tahm Kench gets Goomba stomped. What a start for Immortals. Off the level 1 first, invade punish, they actually don't even wait to call down their jungler. They make this play, assuming that Olaf is doing the full clear. This is so blind. They have no ward in that tribe rush. It has been a full 3 minutes, but Olaf can definitely finish very quickly. But the timing window on that was very close for Immortals. They just went for it. They get rewarded. If Jose had skipped a camp or gone down there a little early for countering, it could have been bad. But really heads up play from the Immortals bottom lane, earning themselves the advantage. Double kills them this early on in a Tristana lane. That's going to mean terrible things for this FlyQuest lane. They could easily be losing, you know, multiple turret plates in their lane as well.
And as we pan down here, I'm just expecting them to die again, right? Like Raze and Destiny just looking so clean in that 2v2. Even through an exhaust, Raze had more than enough damage there to finish off all those kills. I do have a quick update though, Kobe, because IMT are in the lead. Oh, actually, I'll hold it for a second because Revenge and Licorice are doing battle, but that dissipates. So I'll have to hold my breath again because Destiny once again going for their hook. Xerxes here this time. Q is going to just barely miss from the Nidalee, but Raze is going to jump out to safety, and there's no one else coming anyway for IMT with the attempt, but FlyQuest deflect them this time.
I just love the aggression out of, you know, Raze and Destiny, and I remember back even to week 1 of 2021 LCS Split here, where they're the ones who pick the Blitzcrank lane into the Zenatom Kench of Team Liquid, and they surprise everybody and shock everybody. This Immortal squad getting a, you know, that early win versus the Team Liquid lock-in champions coming into Spring Split was huge and was based off a lot of very aggressive play from the bot duo. So they stayed true to that name this time around. You know, Tristana Nautilus also hook champion, looking for all-ins, but mid lane here, Insanity and Palafox just continue to wail on each other, giving no ground. There is a ward on Xerxes and a dragon here for Olaf.
All right. Actually, it worked out kind of nicely there for Palafox here. It's like with RNG going to get this dragon, unless Xerxes has something to say about it. No, he doesn't, but incoming perhaps their TP in. Whoa! We're getting wild here in the river as Diamond's going to have to get out of there. Revenge is here nice and early, but the W is going to miss. And the play will dissipate. Licorice, though, did also counter TP. But everyone's just going to walk away slowly after that one.
Just a prank, bro. Right back to top side. The top wave, I can kind of tell from the mini-map, pushing away from Revenge. But Revenge is going to get there first, so he should be able to handle that.
All right, well, what I was going to mention, I really feel like I can't get... All right, you know what? I'm going to skip it because Raze and Destiny playing so aggressive with no left nearby, so things could erupt at any moment. So we'll move on as IMT are up 600 gold. But down on Ocean Dragon, not too bad for the early game. Here it is again, going to be eyes on this Tristana. If Raze can continue to snowball this game. Also curious to see what item key goes. Seen a lot more Gale Force these days, but of course Shield Bow and Kraken Slayer also good. I guess it will be Kraken Slayer based on recent games because it just pumps up the deep so much when you hit that critical 3 item mark as Licorice eats the chain slow. And gonna walk away, knows that he has to be the defensive player here in this matchup. Let's let Revenge hit the minions and then casually last hit them under tower as plates are going over the Immortals direction here. Bottom lane finally cracking one.
Yep, you know, early instances of combat here, determining what the mid game is going to look like. I think it's pretty good for FlyQuest that they were actually able to sneak that dragon and get everybody out. Kind of insane given the control that 2-kill Tristana bottom side does have there, but really good movement from Jose. They take the timing window, jump on the dragon, burn it down with bottom lane moving up, and Xerxes wrapping around mid. He went over that ward, so Palafox saw him around mid lane, and good punish here from FlyQuest, because even with you have scenarios that are not expected in the game come up like that, you know, how terrible it went, level 1 invade, costing summoner spells, costing health for the bottom lane, and then being followed up with a punish. They're still able to play the game state, jump on that little timing window, and take away one of the biggest objectives that Immortals probably were about to transition over.
Well, the next biggest one is indeed this Rift Herald that Jose Diodo is currently getting some vision around, but going to take the Raptors instead as the mid laners return with their newly gifted blue buffs. Palafox is going to get things pushing and move over in case Jose Diodo needs help, but Raze needs no help on the IMT side. Actually, letting Destiny leave the lane a pretty decent amount here and still managing to push in the center TK, because again, this is the kind of situation where with the Noon Quiver and the Berserker's Greaves can't really do too much. In fact, Licorice even joining the invade party as Jose Diodo face tanks the Q to finish off the red buff, but doesn't have Smite, but does have Licorice! Oh, Licorice! Just barely missing the body slam follow-up, and that is dedication to the red buff. But now Revenge onto Licorice, who doesn't have a flash to remember, as Insanity is also going to collapse on Licorice. A touch too far, does get himself picked off as Jose Diodo leaves the scene of the crime with the enemy red.
Punishment there for missing that body slam flash for Licorice. He has no mobility left now, no defenses, so Jose says, yep, you're going to have to live with that one, my friend. I'll just finish up the red buff and peace out. The origin of that play is good for FlyQuest. Jose is looking at his solo lanes. All right, Palafox is smashing mid lane. He's pressuring Insanity every single wave, trading hard with him. Despite double Verdant pickups for both mid laners, it is Palafox who had been initiating these trades, finishing up the CS, pushing the lane in. Same thing on top side for Licorice. He had actually pushed up the wave into a good spot. So the idea and the invade itself and the call from Jose there, good in order to go fight Xerxes on that red buff and take it. But execution and maybe communication as far as, hey, I'm going all in to try and get actually the kill on in Italy instead of just taking red buff. Definitely off there for FlyQuest. So it ends up looking a lot worse than it probably should have, given the map state that they started out with.
Also, as a result of all that, Rift Herald does go over to IMT, despite the fact that it did seem like FlyQuest were looking for it. So another display of banditry there for Immortals as they do get the other big objective. Reyes also has to fend off Jose Diodo, but is just fine for now, continuing to grab plates on his own like a crate and barrel.
I like nice. I like how we've had to come up with a very diverse list of synonyms for heist and steal and poach.
When you have a team called 100 Thieves in your league, Kobe, you got to get creative.
And when you have a league where so many of them have been stolen, and there have been so many of these plays like that, definitely got to keep you on your toes. Dragon about to spawn though, Pastry, and the Scuttle Crab currently in control here for Immortals. So feeling good about that one. No teleports for either top laner. So just trying to get their pre-rotation damage trades off. Cooldowns will be up for both of their ultimates, but of course Licorice still is going to be without his flash from the early blunder.
Yeah, 2,000 gold ahead though for IMT as they move towards this dragon fight. I imagine a lot of that gold is currently like in their possession, i.e. they bought items with it, but perhaps not, as Licorice and Revenge have been spending a lot of time beating each other up. So it's FlyQuest once again. They're going to move in to try and take this dragon. Should be able to get it, but at what cost is Destiny zooming in onto Diamond? But who's caught who? About to get devoured. Ragnarok through the Azir walls. Diamond flashing in for the tongue lash stun. Nabs it, but Jose Diodo devoured just in time as Raze does not have a reset to try and play with. So it's FlyQuest that grabbed the dragon and the kill.
Jose just keeps muscling up. Jose shows up. All right, we got the push it sides. I'm starting this objective. Full confidence from him. They burn it down. They make the turn here again for FlyQuest. But the early plays still lending that gold over to Immortals. They hold on to the lead. Fox.
No, not dead. Verdant Barrier is a pretty good item, but Insanity is supposed to flash there.
Yep, all that extra magic resistance, for both sides reduces the kill threat. That's why they both like to purchase. Definitely very efficient with AP as well. But anyways, back to Jose. Muscles down the dragon as Xerxes still walking over, and then walks straight through the Azir wall. Diamond even flashing over for the tongue lash to ensure that they finish up that kill as well. And now Revenge is in the graveyard with no flash.
And Licorice has an ulti.
That was during the replay, yes?
It was.
All right, wow.
Next, we'll have another replay shortly.
Nice solo kill there from Licorice with a flash disadvantage then. Don't count any extra assists on the board either.
I was going to say the tower got involved, but the wave is really far up for that to be the case. But I guess we'll find out shortly.
Because the aftermath,
all right, here we go.
Maybe it was a tower dive attempt.
Yeah.
No, it's just he's just at the tower pushing the wave in, and Jose was here. Okay, not the solo. Licorice is able to do most of the damage himself, but Jose walking up with the extra threat there with the Olaf. Regardless, good play there from Licorice, setting that up with Flash's disadvantage there. Revenge burning that Flash and still going down, letting him get the push right back out.
Yeah, really nice stuff for Licorice, just setting it up with the ulti. Rift Herald drop down on the bottom side of Xerxes has finished off the Night Harvester. They're going to be more damage focused here on Italy today. But Ray is finally kind of getting the reward he's been working on this whole time since he got the double kill. He's going to go ahead and pick up all the plates, all the first tower gold, and perhaps a death here as FlyQuest are setting up a little bit of a trap here in the brush, but Raze respects the possibility and is just going to back away from that particular trap.
Yeah, I think especially with the call that you don't see Palafox mid anymore, you can call the hover here. Insanity is like, all right, there's an easy rotation from mid. He can quickly move on this. Just back off. No reason to overextend. They also don't have sight on any of the other members of FlyQuest, so no reason to push it too far there. Just take your rewards and walk right back out. Licorice again on top side. Now, with that early flash blown on the last kill, Revenge has to run away with his ultimate here because Licorice can easily follow. Gragas, whenever you have flash advantage like this, you just have so much playmaking you can bring to your team. And they're even rotating Johnson over. I kind of love this for Senna players. Just walking behind your jungler for these camps because they always spawn souls. And you can pick up the guaranteed souls. Full value there, while you see on the minimap, Diamond, the farm Tom Kench, farming away on bottom side all by himself. Does have his Abyssal Voyage ready, although it's rank 1 and quite short range.
All right, well, I was glad we actually saw that, but Insanity does dip away from the potential gank because I was about to see something potentially very hilarious. Because Godric got nerfed a while ago, Kobe, and so players have been looking, how do we replace this item? The active's not as good. Olaf maybe feels like, I miss my Godrinker because it was such a great item on me when it was overtuned. So instead, I just bought the other Godrinker, of course, without getting nerfed. Stridebreaker has kind of come into its own as the item in that class with a similar active. And Stridebreaker Olaf here is a kind of a fun one to see. Jose Diodo can get some extra mileage out of the ganks. As you can see, Xerxes, they're going to get away.
Yeah, it does have, it has very similar stats on it. And I kind of like this choice when especially you have more champions with healing on your team. If you're looking down your own team and you say they're going to get a lot of value out of Grievous Wounds already with Olaf self-healing, Gragas self-healing, and then Senna healing everybody as well, Grievous Wounds is a high probability the opponent is going to rush, so your Gourd Drinker then also has reduced value. And Stridebreaker, given the extra movement that you can get with the active, is actually really, really good utility. And the item itself just has high gold value with the base stats on it. So definitely have been a fan ever since those Gourd Drinker nerfs a while ago that you're mentioning. Regardless, Dragon about to pop up here. Infernal Dragon on the Rift. This is number 3 possible soul point for FlyQuest. And again, they've got Diamond, the Tom Kench, all the way across the map. Guess what? Tom Kench Abyssal Voyage got Omega nerfed for level 1 range. It barely gets from that position he's at now down to Baron Pit. So while you could be like, oh yeah, he's got a semi-global, it's not even close at level 1. Definitely need to get your level 11 rank 2 before you can actually make map plays like that. So if you just see that, then you know that FlyQuest giving up the Dragon, not gonna continue stacking for the super early soul point.
Yeah, I did grab the Herald at least, so I guess Immortals just recognizing the map state and trading on the bottom, making sure they do pick up that Drake. See where Jose Diodo wants to drop this Herald though. Mid always valuable, but we're still on the hunt for their first tower of the game actually. So wanting to try and take kind of whatever they can, get that gold for themselves, open up that space. Insanity currently the one on split push duty here in the top lane. And Powerfox being very respectful. Missing his mythic early on, but to make sure he gets that Banshee's Veil. So there was no incoming poke, I suppose. Not a whole lot of ways for you to get engaged on apart from a straight Nautilus hook. So Banshee's Veil, even though it can get poked off somewhat easily here, pretty effective against the main ways you're going to get CC'd at the start of a fight.
Yeah, and decent value versus Spear to the face too, if you happen to not dodge one there. Vulnerable champion, Syndra to getting poked out, so he actually does full complete it. Licorice should be able to get away from this one. Yeah, just fine. But you're right. Oftentimes we see people just sit on the Verdant Barrier because it is so stat efficient and gold efficient for your MR.
Speaking of the Verdant Barrier, they're going to go to work here again. Insanity looking for the scoop center ulti up the top.
One more.
And Powerfox, I think he's got it with the assist from downtown. Flash E gets it. Powerfox takes down Insanity.
Senna ultimate game changer there as well, and the slimmest of margins. Powerfox flashes to finish the kill. Jose heads up top to try and burn down that tower, but mid.
Not again, Diamond. He's seen it all before. Xerxes gonna grab the kill. Raze straight in there onto Johnson. Just does so much damage, and now that root is maybe gonna get the trade kill, but Raze is gonna live because Xerxes popped a quick heal. But I love the aggression out of Raze. This though, oh my goodness. Stridebreaker Olaf incoming, but can't make his way around the corner or through the wall. So Raze is gonna get out safely.
Oh, that's the funniest thing. Just seeing a glowing red Olaf. Stop killing my teammates! Running down through the whole team, trying to get the counter kill onto Raze. Oh my goodness. Raze also, whenever you see those early buster shots, go out and you don't get the execution damage. Nice heal from Johnson at the last second there to kind of bait it out, making the difference so he doesn't actually die. That means no rocket jump reset. He also landed the snare, so possibility of getting counter if they didn't have their heal of their own. Like this, the initial move there from Palafox, though, you see his positioning around the soldiers early to get that early health lead, but then flashing back in with the advantage there after the pushback on his Seer wall. Able to finish that one out pretty confidently. And as you said, Pastry hooked him right in again. The catfish on the hook again. Raze immediately tried to flash into, pick up number 2, but you know how that one turned out.
Yeah, followed up the Nautilus ult there that Destiny had already fired away onto the center because Tom Kench was very dead, as we saw. Also, as we revisit down the bottom side of the map, I have to think Licorice is kind of getting over it. Revenge is like constantly pushing his side lane. He's getting beaten up by Aatrox, Q's. Gragas is going to survive. I don't think Licorice is in much danger of actually dying in a 1v1, but IMT are likely going to use the pressure that Revenge currently does have to make things happen in other parts of the map. Although right now I'm more concerned with getting this mid lane priority and taking down this tower. It is, of course, a valuable point of the map in general, but with Dragon up in a minute 10 and FlyQuest still one away from Soul Point, both teams just wanting to fight for central control because they do need to take this Drake here.
Yeah, that side lane matchup does mean a lot. Revenge getting the first move because he gets to push the wave every 30 seconds, new wave spawn. And Aatrox getting to move first and finding a flank can be the big difference. Licorice is for sure built for the for the team fight. He is ready to just turbo chem tank right into the middle, make his body slam flash ult play, and has a Thornmail for himself as well, so he can now proactively apply the 60% Grievous Wounds by hitting that CC, on Aatrox, on Tristana as well. Reducing any self-healing, any healing from the Nidalee as well. So kind of like the early rush here from him, as it allows the carry members not to have to drop extra cash that for that utility.
Holy! Oh, he's the one initiating. Oh my goodness! This takes down the center, forces out the Ragnarok, and IMT, a very creative way to find a 5v4.
WTF, mate? Where'd that center go? I want to see that slow-mo replay. Was it a spear landing at the same time too? That was crazy burst. That was 36 from Raze. Rocket jump right back out. He has been playing this game so confidently. It's the Immortals bottom lane that has earned them this seat. 2K gold lead for themselves, 2 Infernal Dragons, putting a stop to a lot of FlyQuest and Jose's efforts from the early game.
Oh, also, I realized we had to talk about this before, but the game has been so fun and action-packed that we didn't get to it, so I'll squeeze it in while we can. We did mention that FlyQuest's chances here do hinge on this win, but we were slightly incorrect. I'll talk about it after this replay, though, Code, because I want to see how this happened. Solo.
Yeah, that's straight up solo here from Raze. Holy moly. Explosive shot, pops it himself with the buster, execution 100% to 0. I mean, it is a squishy Senna and has no escapes there for Johnson. He didn't have the heal at the time, no flash, so I love the play from Raze.
Senna ulti again. Palafox used the ulti, but it's not quite enough. The Q's going to miss, though, and now Palafox is going to have to figure out what to do. Revenge, though, popping in with a stride breaker flash forward after the E is Revenge. Still chasing him, but Xerxes here as well. The spear is not going to connect as Palafox is still trying to kite away, but Diamond can't make it in time to save his friend as Raze killed Olaf at the same time, picking up almost another solo with the assistance of 2 friends. So Diamond now going to get himself Nautilus ulted. And the rest of IMT are going to charge in, but no follow-up kills are there. However, Baron pressure is here, and IMT are going to start the objective. Oh, goodness, the hook's already landed. Never mind. Aboard the Baron. Licorice is going to get devoured by Diamond, but now going to pop back out and be popped by Xerxes. Insanity going to swoop one back in as they'll take 4 kills and go straight back to Baron.
That is a textbook example of the sunk cost fallacy, Pastry Time, from your Economics 101. Immortals had 5 people alive. They just made the pickoff. FlyQuest, you've got no business chasing that. You've got no business contesting there. What sort of counterplay is left? You have to just cut your losses. It stings. It hurts. I know to give up, the objective at that point, but without the, with the 2 pickoffs there, with Palafox going down, with Jose going down, you don't really get a say about it anymore. And now they just further their losses with Licorice also going down.
All right, well, like I said, to double back slightly on something we brought up earlier, FlyQuest is actually not mathematically eliminated with a loss here. They could technically end a three-way tie at 8 wins with EG and Immortals, but a win here for either team very obviously improves your chances of qualifying for the mid-season showdown. So IMT are looking for that win here in the hunt. So is FlyQuest again. Makes your life a lot easier the more games you win. Shocking, I know. But IMT certainly in the driver's seat here for this one with the Red Bull Baron Buff, looking to charge down mid, take out a few more structures for themselves.
All right, this one has been exciting, Pastry. I'd say just keep your eyes always on Raze as he is able to buffer that rocket jump there. Good job saving himself. Another pick, though. Licorice,
not picked off just yet. Xerxes spears, though, chunking the Gragas because that Void Stuff second is massive. The damage is huge. The Q's going to miss. But Xerxes making his presence known against the tank, in air quotes, of Licorice. Not a whole lot of MR though on that Gragas, and Xerxes is going to show just how much damage Nidalee can do right now. As Johnson, oh my goodness. That almost looked like an old Nidalee spear. I was ready for Johnson's life to just completely explode.
Yeah, that's the old Nidalee. No, none of this moon staff, flowing water, healing going on. Those are hard-hitting spears.
Oh, Destiny with the wraparound flank here. The ulti through. It's more than good enough. Raze is unstoppable. And now he's jumping in for more. Going to take out one extra. Xerxes has already taken out Diamond. Make it 3. Going to be maybe 4 and 5 here for the rest of IMT. They find the hook. The spear is true and takes down the 4th as the 5th will be found. And IMT are going to snag the Bud Light House, Bud Light Ace, and quite possibly the win as well.
Oh my goodness, yeah, they snagged that and more. Bottom lane minion wave is already there, and with the Baron buff Pastry time, they can walk those minions right to the Nexus.
Well, they lost Raze, but I don't think they need him to finish off the job here. The Baron power is still there for 40 seconds. They've got Azir and friends here to knock down these towers, and Diamond gonna pop the happy B, but it's gonna be a sad B in short order as IMT are gonna take the win up against FlyQuest, but not before they've collected their sushi, as Diamond somehow is gonna live.
Holy moly. Raze. He had the Vayne yesterday, Tristana today, Destiny setting them up with the hook. They get the 2v2 kills in lane. They continue to look for these plays, and he just, every time he saw Johnson just looking over to hop right on the Senna's head, gets the kills, rocket jump resetting afterwards. You see everybody taking turns on Immortals, going to give him a massage. How your shoulders feeling after all that work he put in carrying? Well done, well-deserved win for Immortals.
I also appreciate that he's died near the end of the game, despite popping off both on Vayne and on Tristana. Like, just has to get in one death to keep the KDA looking a little more even. But yeah, this bottom lane is continuing to impress, and I think when we talk about these kind of players who have experience together in Oceania, who have looked good on an international stage, like for a lot of these OCE players, the expectations are different for, say, something like Palafox, who, is a player coming up from Academy, hasn't really had a shot on a big stage just yet. And I think Raze and Destiny are finally showing why, of all the options you could have picked, you're going to go with Raze and Destiny. Lesser known names from a region that maybe isn't as trusted, but is starting to prove that at least in the AD carry department, Kobe, maybe we should keep looking there for your scouting info.
Looking pretty fun, too. I love it. Any of these champions where you're jumping in, playing aggressively with them, you'll love to see those looks. That's where you really get the big spotlight on your head. And well-deserved here for them. So Immortals still in it. Technically, FlyQuest can now try and aim for that small chance at the tie and hope that everything goes their way.
Yep. Again, sadly, there is no playoffs lock in or lock out. FlyQuest still in it, but it is going to be a rough road in any case. We're headed to a break, but on the other side of Riv is going to be talking to Destiny in the Verizon post-game interview. So we'll see you there.
Welcome back to the Verizon post-game interview. The day is almost over, but we still got much to talk about and people to talk to. I am joined by Immortals Destiny after their victory over FlyQuest. The playoff dreams very much alive on the horizon, Destiny. It's got to feel good.
Yeah, it feels good. Definitely losing the CLG at the beginning of the weekend was kind of rough. We kind of expected the 3-0 this weekend, but I'll take the 2-1. We take those. The miracle run's still alive.
Yeah, great game from start to finish. The top 6 spot for the midseason showdowns are coming up. The face cams showed everybody having a blast coming into this game. On top of playing loose, what's the team been focusing on here towards the later half of the split?
I think throughout the split, we've had kind of a rough early games. I think it's something that we've been focusing on week to week, and I do think it is gradually improving. I think if we don't fall into a deficit early game, we're actually like pretty decent in mid game, I would say. So yeah, I think we've been focusing on that every week, and yeah, I think we're improving week to week, which is great to see.
It showed it here, a very strong and steady game, but that's going to be necessary coming up, Destiny. Immortals may have one of the, if not the hardest schedule to complete now for next week. 100 Thieves, TSM, and Cloud9. What is the team doing to prepare for the mini gauntlet that you have?
Yeah, we definitely have a mini gauntlet ahead of ourselves, but in saying that, 100 Thieves have looked a bit shaky recently, obviously with the roster changer Ioma, my old teammate, so it will be fun to play against him. TSM, they look pretty good recently, and C9, they lost today, so look, anything is possible, and the miracle runs alive. Like, I'm a believer, and I think we can do it. I'm coming for you,
the variables are there. Oh, okay. Yeah, you said you're that type of player, and extending on that a little bit, I kind of want to figure out what type of player you are more. You know, what do you bring to the table, and what should people expect from you?
I think I'm a very aggressive player. I think that's what a lot of people view me as. I'm kind of the person to pull the trigger. I've had like really good games on Rel and Nautilus historically in my career. I would say this season, my one bad game was against TSM when I was on Alistar. I kind of ran that one down. But yeah, from me, I'm very aggressive. I'm a domestic support here in NA, so I really want to prove myself as the best domestic support. And this might take a couple of years, but I'll get there. I did it in Oath, and I want to do it here.
That's amazing to hear, and that's exactly what everybody wants to hear. Destiny, it was awesome getting the first chance to chat with you here on the Verizon Breakdown. As we go to the Bud Light Breakdown, I want to say thank you.
I loved all the vibes of that interview.
Yes.
Destiny saying, I'm coming for you. He wants to be the best support here. Whew. You love to see it from IMT after that victory. But speaking of that victory, let's go ahead and rewind to the top of that game where Emily, things really kicked off with a bang.
Yeah, so basically we had this level 1, right, where they end up going through this choke point, almost catching Diamond, but he is Tom Kench, who gets healed up. But basically they end up blowing a ton of summoners, and at this point I'm looking at this and I'm like, I want Nidalee to come down and be in this lane immediately. As it turns out, they didn't need it because they just get the 2v2 kill themselves as it's coming. But this is why I'm not a play-by-play caster. It sets up the game really, really well. And Raze just absolutely took over this game. He's looked great in his past 2 games. He seems a lot more comfortable with this team. IMT has been one of the most frustrating teams for me because when they look really good, they look really good. Like, I love some of their drafting. I love what they do with this set of players. I think they have some really interesting and unique picks that they can pull out. So it's nice to see them just kind of go ahead and take these advantages, get them early, and then Raze just completely took over.
I was gonna say they're one of the like inconsistent teams, but not in like the boom or bust way that we kind of associate with EG or something. They're kind of one of the teams that when things look good, it's controlled game plan usually, and when things look bad for them, it's like a whole lot of nothing, and you're just kind of watching them farm and slowly lose the game. And so like I like seeing a little bit more explosiveness out of this team, which you definitely saw with Tristana this game. But even last game and some of this stuff, like I like seeing the more proactive approach, and I hope they continue that going forward as they kind of, like you heard, make the run.
It was early on in the season when they took that initial victory against Team Liquid that they built this reputation. I believe it was Raze that said in an interview, we can win or lose to any team. And speaking of Raze Primal, it sounds like we're all on the same page here that he made a splash today.
Oh, I mean, he made a splash and then some. This guy has been on a tear, I think, all weekend, right? Like, jumping in on Tristana, hyper-confident play. He knows he can get the kill, get out off the reset, off the E. And, in general, we saw Destiny talking in his interview about how he wants to prove himself as the best domestic support, and it might take him some time, but he's going to get there. I just love the energy that's coming from these OC players in general, bringing that thunder from down under, and I'm here for it.
We're all here for it. And I mean, we're able to see through the entire game, IMT continue to create their hold over it. And Mark, I think anyone that is trying to cheer on Immortals is really happy to see some of the consistency coming through.
Yep, they're definitely having a lot better performance. You saw this kind of split fight after a failed kill attempt on the top side, which is something I do want to say about FlyQuest, is that they tried to make some plays this game and just often kind of misplayed them, and they're a bit of a disappointment this split, all things considered. There's Licorice's attempt to find a kill at the red buff where he just kind of body slammed in, missed, and kind of threw his ult and didn't think of the knockback and then died for it. Like, there were a lot of those kinds of plays where they attempted to make them but just came up short, and it's just a little tragic to see when a lot of people were hyped about FlyQuest. There's still some bright spots, obviously. It's not all doom and gloom. They're doing a lot better than Golden Guardians and CLG in the standings currently, but I'd say most people have been a little disappointed with their showing.
Yeah, totally agree, Mark. And I think to put a finer point on it, the reason why we're disappointed is because these are good players, right? Like Jose Deodo, I think mechanically has been super crisp all split. Licorice is one of the elite top laners of yesteryear. And then we have Palafox, who's a really promising mid from C9 Academy. So it looks like overall the team is having some macro and cohesion issues that I do hope get sorted out, because this team does have the pieces to be a threat.
And I'm actually looking at some of the information that we are getting in right now, taking a look at the math and recalculating some of those numbers on the side of FlyQuest. It turns out they are, in fact, out when it comes to their running for the playoffs because of a 3-way tie going on between EG and IMT, 0-4. So take a moment to let that sink in. We're just talking about some of the things we would like to see a bit more from FlyQuest. Emily, coming to you, reflecting upon Fly so far, and maybe it going into this last week, what are you just making of the team and their development, whether it be some things you want to see more from them or some positives to take away for their future?
I mean, I think we saw some positives the other day, right? The big thing is that, and we've been saying about this FlyQuest team pretty consistently, so people are probably sick of hearing it, but they don't seem to be able to have like an incremental increase in terms of, okay, we're going to build on this win for this next game, and then we're going to build on this, etc. Like we can't see like kind of a marked improvement, and maybe there is internally and we just can't see it externally. That's also completely plausible. I'd believe it. But at the same time, like that's the big thing that stands out to this team for me is like these are good players. We've seen them be able to coordinate and come in and win games, but they never seem to be able to like string them together in any sort of like cohesive improvement. And that's been the biggest standout for me as to where the problems have been coming from.
And I think that's something that a lot of people are going to continue tracking when looking at FlyQuest, because they will still be competing in their games next week. And remember, as far as the season goes, every game does count as it does roll over into the summer. But with all of that being said, I believe we are going to end up taking a look at our standings. Things are getting a bit more cemented game after game. And despite a 1-2 record this weekend, Cloud9 are still up in first with Dignitas and TSM right behind them at 10-5. Tied for fourth are 100 Thieves and Team Liquid with Evil Geniuses following in sixth. And if you're wondering what we have coming ahead as far as this week in total, let's take a look at the content that we have coming up. On Monday, we'll have our Giant Slayer Spring Gauntlet happening through the week over at twitch.tv/academy, so be sure to check it out. But of course, we'll also have more LCS content for you. The Dive releasing at 5 a.m. on Tuesday. You always getting that first taste of that one, while This or That premieres on Thursdays at 9. And we'll see you right back here for more LCS action on Friday. Speaking of Friday's games, we're entering the final week of the regular season in spring. I can't believe we're here already. And we're kicking it off with Cloud9 taking on CLG. Evil Geniuses face off against TSM right after. And we'll keep the games going all day long until we close it out with Golden Guardians taking on FlyQuest. And looking at this list right here, I mean, we had a lot of bangers going on today, but there should be some good ones coming up on Friday as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is just how much of an upset this last day and a half has been, with C9 dropping 2 games, Dignitas picking up a 3-0 weekend, TSM also beating C9 to kind of keep up in the standings. Like, it's been a crazy week for the teams at the top of the table, and I think it makes it super crazy to go in and look like, hey, maybe TL finishes like 3rd or maybe even 4th if they like Dig keeps winning. Then TL versus C9 in first round of playoffs, like you can get some really crazy scenarios next weekend.
And one of the games I'm really looking at on Friday is actually that 100T IMT matchup, because that's absolutely massive. We saw it from the standings, but this win puts IMT in a position where they can kind of punch up through the standings if they're able to knock off these teams in the final week. So that's a really crucial game for not only 100 Thieves, which we've already talked about. You know, they got the victory today, but previously they were kind of struggling. And then this IMT team that's looking pretty formidable, especially in a single game format.
Agreed. And in the countdown, you know, Mark, Emily, and I all had the same top 3, and now it's looking like we might all be wrong, right? Like
done.
I don't even know who's going to be first place at this point. At this point, Dignitas is even looking like a huge threat, and they have C9 and TL this weekend. So this is the most exciting weekend I think we've had for the end of a split in a while. And if you plan on doing anything but watching League of Legends next weekend, I don't know what you're doing. Cancel all your plans.
I don't do anything with my time but watch League of Legends.
Perfect.
If it makes
Cancel your League of Legends.
For more League of Legends, yeah, I got it.
I'll gladly sacrifice all of your prediction scores if it means that we get the type of games that we have been getting each and every time. We do have one final order of business here on the broadcast, though, so let's hand things over to our casters to award the MasterCard Player of the Week.
All right, Kobe, it is that time of the week. It's been a long one, and thank you, Latargus. But after a 3-0 performance for Dignitas, we have had to award our MasterCard Player of the Week to the real deal, the genuine article himself. It is, of course, Mr. Fake God.
Faker God does it here for Dignitas. What a weekend it has been for Dig. flashing to make plays for his team on the enemy jungler. Huge initiations for him. His Aatrox was really big this weekend as well, flanking into the back of teams, applying the plasma for Neo to follow up. And I need to say that Neo deserves a huge shout out as well. While Fake God barely scraped ahead in the votes, Neo got a ton of votes for Player of the Week as well. Barely edged out by his teammate here, but both of those guys did so much to carry Dignitas this weekend. Get them to this very comfortable spot at the top of the standings. They definitely both deserve credit. Really like seeing a lot of these big plays from Fake God and the confidence that has come from it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Afro's already won, right? Neo's definitely right there with Fake God as far as in contention for Mastercard Player of the Week. So Dignitas just kind of firing on all cylinders. Individual looking great, looking even better as a team. Been such a fun squad to watch. And it's going to be already a very explosive last week before playoffs do hit for the mid-season showdown. So excited to track the rest of it, Dignitas throughout that as well. But Fake God, I mean, the quality of opponents like pretty high, like kind of beat up Niles with the Aatrox and the Gragas matchup, and then had to play Huni and Impact against I think Jason Renekton, like, which is some pretty volatile matchups, and managed to navigate really well from there. But the weekend isn't quite over, of course. The show continues with the Bud Light League Lounge as Dash, Tigress, Primal, and Svenskeren will be over at twitch.tv/BudLight. But that does conclude our LCS games. On behalf of myself, the casters, analysts, and our live broadcast crew, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Good night.